Relative clauses with who, whom, which, and that. And this is part 1 of relative clauses. Hello and welcome to English Speaking 360. Today, if you want to learn how to make more complex sentences, this video is for you. Don't skip the final test though. It's not an easy test, but your score will tell you if you understand well. Let's get started. Here's a basic sentence. The woman is friendly. Woman is a noun. What woman? I need more information about that woman. The woman who lives next door is friendly. In this sentence, who lives next door is a relative clause. Why do we use relative clauses? Relative clauses give more information about a noun. For example, our first example was this sentence, and the noun, as we said, was woman. And the relative clause, who lives next door, is giving more information about the noun. Also, relative clauses are used to join two simple sentences together. And that is why I told you that today's video will help you make more complex sentences. Here's an example. The woman is friendly is the main clause, and the extra information is the woman lives next door. So these are two separate sentences, but with the help of relative clauses, we can turn it into only one sentence. The woman who lives next door is friendly. Many relative pronouns can be used to make relative clauses, and that's important. Who for people, whom also for people, which for animals and things, that for people, animals, and things, when for times, where for places, whose for possession, and why for reasons. Now the first part right here is part 1, and this is this video, the video that you are currently watching. Part 2 right here will be in the next video, the video that is coming soon. So if you watch this video very early, maybe part 2 is not available yet. But if you watch it a little bit later, make sure you check out part 2. Relative clauses with who. Now, we are starting with this one. Who is for people and who is a subject. That's important. The manager is on vacation. I envy that guy. And the extra information is the manager handles our department. Now your job is to merge the two sentences and to make only one sentence. You ready? Give it a try. Make sure you speak at home. It's very important. You ready? I'm going to give you the answer. Here it is. The manager who handles our department is on vacation. That's a very nice sentence. You need to practice now. First example, the gardener is planting new flowers. And the gardener works for the city. You ready? Try to merge them. The answer is the gardener who works for the city is planting new flowers. Number 2, a lawyer represented us in court. Extra information, the lawyer specializes in labor law. So if you have a work issue, it's related to labor law. So now merge the two sentences, and it gives a lawyer who specializes in labor law represented us in court. Here's something you should know. We never omit the subject in a relative clause. The subject in this case, in the first example, is who. Okay, so you cannot remove it. You cannot omit it. You cannot say the gardener works for the city is planting new flowers. It doesn't make sense. In the second example, it's the same thing. You cannot remove who. Who is very, very important because it is the subject of the relative clause. Relative clauses with whom now. Whom is also for people, but whom is an object relative pronoun. Here we go with an example. The chef makes delicious food. I learned cooking from the chef. Now try to merge them. The answer is, the chef whom I learned cooking from makes delicious food. Now I know what you're thinking. Many of you are probably thinking, but teacher, some people say who for people also. Yes, of course, you can also say who, but who is less formal. But these days in casual speech, many people say who. The chef who I learned cooking from makes delicious food. It's also fine. There's no problem with that. But as you can see, I underlined the verb learned. Now, let's check this out. If I ask, who learned cooking? And the answer is, I learned cooking. So I is your subject. So who and whom are not the subject of the relative clause. Practice is the key to success, so let's give it a try. Example 1. The woman is very kind. I met the woman at the store. Try to merge them. You ready? The woman whom I met at the store is very kind, or the woman who I met at the store is very kind is the same thing. Okay? Example 2. The photographer takes beautiful photos. We hired the photographer for the wedding. Ready? The photographer whom we hired for the wedding takes beautiful photos. Here's something you must know. Whom and who can be omitted if they are not the subject of the relative clause. Whom is never the subject, so it can always be omitted. Who is a little bit trickier though. Let's check out one of the examples that we have seen before. The woman whom I met at the store is very kind. Now you have to ask yourself, is whom or who the subject of the relative clause? So you have to ask yourself, who met someone at the store? And the answer is, I met someone at the store. So I is your subject. Therefore, whom and who are not the subject. And if they are not the subject of the relative clause, they can be omitted. You can remove them, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference. The woman I met at the store is very kind. Here's another example. The photographer whom we hired for the wedding takes beautiful photos. Who hired someone? We hired someone. The photographer did not hire anyone. We hired him. So in this case again, whom and who are not the subject of the relative clause, so it can be removed. So the actual sentence could become, the photographer we hired for the wedding takes beautiful photos. But watch out. Here's a good example. The manager who handles our department is on vacation. Now, who handles our department? The answer is the manager. And who in the relative clause is referring back to the manager. So who is the actual subject of the relative clause, and it cannot be omitted. You need who in this sentence. You cannot skip it. Relative clauses with which. Which is used for animals or things. Here's an example. A computer. A computer is a thing. So the computer is broken, and we used the computer for our project. Now try to merge the two sentences with which. The computer which we used for our project is broken. A little practice won't hurt, that's for sure. So let's go with another example. Dishes are popular in Spain. That's a slightly weird sentence, but let's keep going. Extra information. Those dishes include seafood. Okay, now let's merge them. Dishes which include seafood are popular in Spain. That's an excellent sentence. Number 2. The monkey is very clever. They observed the monkey at the zoo. Put them together and it gives the monkey which they observed at the zoo is very clever. Once again, be careful here. Which can be omitted if it's not the subject of the relative clause. The computer which we used for our project is broken. Who used something? We used the computer. So we is your subject. In this case, which is not the subject, it's actually the object. We used what? We used the computer. It means that we can remove it because it's the object. So the sentence could become, the computer we used for our project is broken. Number 2, the monkey which they observed at the zoo is very clever. Now think about it. Who observed the monkey? They observed the monkey. So the monkey didn't observe anything. So in this case as well, which can be omitted. You can remove it. The monkey they observed at the zoo is very clever. Watch out with number 3. Dishes which include seafood are popular in Spain. Who includes seafood or what includes seafood? And the answer is dishes. And in the relative clause, dishes is replaced by which. So which, the relative pronoun, is the actual subject. And if it's the subject, it cannot be removed. You cannot omit which. Relative clauses with that. That is used for people, animals, and things, so it's super useful. Let's go with an example. The movie was unpredictable. I saw the movie yesterday. Put them together, this one is an easy one. The movie that I saw yesterday was unpredictable. We're almost finished, so let's do it. A little bit more practice. Number 1, the woman was helpful. I spoke to the woman on the phone. Okay, now put them together and it gives the woman that I spoke to on the phone was helpful. Very nice sentence. Number 2, the horse won the race. The horse belongs to my neighbor. Okay, put them together and once they are merged, it gives the horse that belongs to my neighbor won the race. That is similar to who and which. So that means that can be omitted if it's not the subject of the relative clause. If it's the object, you can skip that. Now here's an example. The movie that I saw yesterday was unpredictable. Who saw? I saw. So I is the subject, therefore that is not the subject and it can be removed. The movie I saw yesterday was unpredictable. The woman that I spoke to on the phone was helpful. Who spoke? I spoke. And therefore that is not the subject, so you can also remove it. The woman I spoke to on the phone was helpful. Watch out! The horse that belongs to my neighbor won the race. Who belongs to my neighbor or what belongs to my neighbor? The answer is the horse. And in the relative clause, the horse is replaced with that. It means that is the subject of the relative clause and you cannot remove it. You need that. Let's review the relative pronouns. So if you want to talk about people, you can use who or you can use whom, but whom is always only an object pronoun. That is used for both. For animals, you can use which and that. For things, you can also use which and that. But be careful, we never omit the subject in a relative clause. So you can see almost all of them can be either subject or object of the relative clause. And that is the challenge that you have. But if you see whom somewhere, you can be sure that you can remove it in a relative clause and the sentence will still make sense. Now it's quiz time. 10 questions, and like I told you, it's not easy. Let's get started. A company is launching a new product. The company specializes in tech gadgets. Put the two sentences together to make only one sentence. You ready? You would say, a company that specializes in tech gadgets is launching a new product. Could you use a different pronoun? Yes, you could. You could use which. A company which specializes in tech gadgets is launching a new product also makes sense. But watch out, I have another question for you. Can you omit the relative pronoun? Can you bypass that or which? Can you remove them? The answer is no, you cannot remove them because that and which are both the subject, so they cannot be removed. Question 2. The athlete is from Brazil. The athlete broke the world record. Okay, now merge the two sentences. The athlete who broke the world record is from Brazil. Can you use another pronoun? Yes, you can. You can use that. The athlete that broke the world record is from Brazil. Can you omit the relative pronoun? No, you cannot because it is the subject of the relative clause. Number 3. The outfit was amazing. Oh, yes, it was. She wore the outfit to go snowboarding. You ready? Merge the two sentences, and the answer is the outfit that she wore to go snowboarding was amazing. Okay, and is there another pronoun that you can use instead of that? Yes, for things you can also use which. The outfit which she wore to go snowboarding was amazing. Now, can you omit the relative pronoun? Can you bypass them? Yes, you can, because she wore the outfit. The outfit didn't do anything, so that and which are both object of the relative clause. In this case, it means that you can remove both of them and it still makes sense. The outfit she wore to go snowboarding was amazing. Question 4. The dogs are very lucky. The dogs are rescued from animal shelters. Ah, that's so sad. But here's the answer. The dogs that are rescued from animal shelters are very lucky. Excellent. Can you use another pronoun? Yes, you can. You can use which. The dogs which are rescued. Now, can you skip the relative pronoun? No, you cannot, because who is rescued from animal shelters, or what is rescued from animal shelters? The answer is the dogs, and that is standing in place of the dogs in the relative clause. Question 5. The actor won an award. We saw the actor at the restaurant. Good. Put them together, and the answer is the actor whom we saw at the restaurant won an award. Can you use another pronoun? Yes, you can. Like we said, you can use who. It's more colloquial, it's more conversational, or you could also use that. The actor that we saw at the restaurant won an award. Can you omit the relative pronoun? Yes, you can, because in this case, who saw the actor? We saw the actor, so whom can be removed, and the same thing with the two other ones. The actor we saw at the restaurant won an award. Question 6. The window is open. The window faces the garden. Merge the two sentences, and the answer is the window that faces the garden is open. Do we have one more pronoun? Of course we do. You can say the window which faces the garden is open. Can you omit the relative pronoun? In this case, you cannot, because what faces the garden? The window is the answer, so that and which are both subjects of the relative clause. Question 7. The artist lived in the 18th century. The artist painted this masterpiece. Ready? A little bit more complex here. The artist who painted this masterpiece lived in the 18th century. Do we have another pronoun? Yes, the artist that painted this masterpiece. Can you omit the relative pronoun in this case? No, you cannot, because who painted the masterpiece? The answer is the artist, and in the relative clause, who replaces the artist. Number 8. She's looking for a book. She lost the book last week. This one is a bit tricky. Ready? Let's do it. She's looking for the book that she lost last week. So until now, in the whole video, we have seen that the relative clause was inserted, like in the middle of the main clause. But it can also be after the main clause. The relative clause always follows the noun that it gives more information about. So that's why in this case it's after the book, because the relative clause gives more information about that book. Can we have one more relative pronoun? Yes, we can. We can add which. She's looking for the book which she lost last week. Can you omit the relative pronoun? Yes, you can, because who lost? She lost. So it's not the book. The book didn't lose anything, so that and which are both objects. In that case, you can remove them. She's looking for the book she lost last week. Question 9. John met a girl at the party last night. The girl works at a bank. Okay, so let's merge them, and the sentence becomes, John met a girl who works at a bank at the party last night. Do we have one more relative pronoun? Yes, we do. We can use that. John met a girl that works at a bank. Good. Can you omit the relative pronoun? No, you cannot, because who works at a bank? The girl, a girl. So a girl is replaced with that or who in the relative clause, and that is your subject, so it cannot be removed. Last question. The snack tasted terrible. She brought the snack to work. Ready? Here's the answer. The snack that she brought to work tasted terrible. That can also be replaced with which, the snack which she brought to work. Can you omit the relative pronoun? Yes, you can, because who brought the snack? She brought the snack. So that and which are object because they replace the snack. So you can remove them. The snack she brought to work tasted terrible. Now, did you get a good score? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to check out part 2, because in part 2 I will give you even more relative clauses. See you next time. Bye bye.